Well, hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. This is Dark Horse Comics, and it's Wednesday, which means we're back for another episode of the New Comic Book Day Rundown, celebrating the release of new comics and books in comic shops everywhere. So we have a lot of really exciting stuff to show you today. First, I want to welcome our guests. This week, I am joined by some of my colleagues at Dark Horse. First, welcome Ian Tucker.
Hello.
Hey, Ian. So Ian is an editor at Dark Horse. Do you mind just giving folks a really quick rundown of some of the big titles that you are currently working on?
Sure. So, unlike a lot of the other editors at Dark Horse, I actually don't work on comics at all. I work on art books for mostly pertaining to video games. So, one of the ones we'll be talking about today is the art of Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Very exciting. Lots of Assassin's Creed news ongoing this month. And Brett Israel also. Hey, Brett.
Oh,
Brett is another member of our editorial team at Dark Horse. And so you work with Ian on a lot of these art books, but maybe give folks like a quick idea of some of the other titles you work on too.
I work on a lot of other creator-owned comics as well, and some localizations. I did want to highlight just today, it's like the book list review of the day for a book called Papaya Salad. It's a great like story of about World War II that we haven't really seen before, about essentially a Thai person moving around Europe and like the trials and tribulations, I guess. But it's a really good book, so you should check that out. Yeah.
Really good. It's been really well received on online and also just by book reviewers, which is really nice to see. By Elise Masalari, really nice, beautifully illustrated book.
Yeah.
One of our international titles that we've had a few come out just recently, and I've been really pleased to see like how well they've been received by people. Flower of the Witch is a young adult one. Enrico Orlandi and Cuisine Chinois, which I believe you also worked on.
Yes.
Also beautiful. So all of those are on our website if you want to check those out. It's just darkhorse.com. And everything we're going to show you today, as I said, is new in comic shops this week. So you can see more details about everything we talk about today on our website, darkhorse.com. And we'll tell you a bit more about where you can get comics in just a moment. As our regular viewers know, and welcome, of course, to anybody who is new and joining us for the first time. We at Dark Horse have been streaming live here on Twitch kind of since the beginning of the pandemic, since we all are now working from home, basically. So thank you to Ian and Brett for joining me from your remote stations. Normally, we would be in the offices where we have a little bit more of a setup, but we've been excited to bring fans some fun content here on Twitch with virtual events as much as we can, including these new comic book day rundowns and special guest streams where we have folks like the voice actors from Legend of Korra come do live readings. Those have been really fun. We've also had folks come on and do live art, like the Plants vs. Zombies team, Ron Chan and Kat Ferris with Paul Tobin. So whenever we have fun stuff like that, we'll be sure to announce on our website and our social media to let you know. So you can be sure to tune in for those too. Real quick, one last thing before we kind of get into it. We always do run a giveaway. So today, the giveaway will feature all of the single issue comics that we are going to talk about in a moment. And I'm going to throw in a copy of The Art of Assassin's Creed Valhalla because it's really beautiful. And I think probably some of you watching are Assassin's Creed fans. So to win all of those, all you need to do is in the chat, enter the keyword Valhalla once. That's all you need to do. It'll be counted and we'll draw a winner near the end of the stream. So that's VALHALLA. And we'll kind of keep that going throughout the stream. So keep an eye on it. Brett, do you want to let folks know a bit more about like where they can get comics?
Yeah. So I think everything we talk about today, you can also buy at your local comic shop or wherever you buy comics locally. But you should definitely seek out a local store. A lot of stores now are doing curbside pickup, online ordering, all that stuff because due to COVID. And the way to find your store is to go to comicshoplocator.com and indiebound.org to find stores near you.
Both very helpful tools, and they do work outside of North America too.
Yeah.
Because I know we have folks fans and readers all over the world, which is awesome. So yeah, shop locally if you can, comic shops and bookstores, especially for graphic novels and all these cool art books. We also do have digital comics available, and our art books are usually made available digitally as well. So with that in mind, we also typically try to run some digital sales to help you try new things or complete your collections. And right now we are offering a digital sale on our Witcher comics and books, because that's another cool video game franchise that we get to work with a lot. I'm a big fan of The Witcher personally, both the video games and the books, and now the series and the comics. So what you can do right now is at digital.darkhorse.com. On this sale, you can get all of the comics. We've done several different comic series. They're all original stories. We work very closely in partnership with CD Projekt Red on all of these. So they're stories that they've checked out too. And so they're all in approval with the guys who make the games. They are all 50% off, all single issues, also graphic novels and our art books. And we've done some really gorgeous art books for The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, and also The Art of Gwent, which sounds kind of weird, like in theory, the art of the card game in the game, but I have to say that art book is gorgeous. Like the art in that book is amazing.
It's really unusual art book too. It's basically a gallery of all of the art from the standalone version of the Gwent game. So it's it's actually the just the launch card. So I think we've got the first 5 armies in there, but they're all in huge gallery format. They all contain their descriptor text, and in a lot of cases some really cool commentary from the artists as well.
Which is also useful for someone like me. I love the game. I've played through it more times than I really want to say. And I'm like a completionist, so I do all the things. But Gwent itself, I don't usually spend a lot of time in game playing it, but having that, like the card information and text in a book that I can actually reference, that's helpful for me personally when I play the game. So anyway, all of those are 50% off at Dark Horse Digital right now. And our digital sales too, just so everybody knows, they're usually mirrored. So if you prefer to use Comixology or other platforms, usually you will be able to get them for the same price at those. So check there too. And just to note, this is in celebration and anticipation of the next Witcher comic series, which is coming up starting next week. Pretty exciting. It's called The Witcher Fading Memories. So that information is on our website too, darkhorse.com. If you haven't already, definitely pre-order from your comic shop to make sure that you get a copy. You can also set up subscriptions at most comic book stores. That's a really good way to make sure that you get each issue, and then also to ensure you get variant covers when there's special variant covers. So Fading Memories is coming up next week. We'll talk about that more on the next stream, actually. And for now, the digital sale, digital is a difficult word to say. Digital sale at Dark Horse Digital. That's digital.darkhorse.com. And also we have apps on iOS and Android. So get hyped for more Witcher coming soon. And that's all for kind of the shopkeeping. We do have a few announcements that we want to tell you about, though. And I'm going to turn it over to Ian to get you more hyped about the next book.
Absolutely. We were very excited to recently announce Castlevania, The Art of the Animated Series. This is going to be all 4 seasons to date. It's unknown yet whether we get to enjoy more Castlevania after the upcoming season 4, but we're currently speculating that's going to be out in June of next year. So summertime, it's when we probably the time of year we probably most associate with Dracula and Alucard and the rest of the Dracula family. It is available for pre-order now. We've got a fantastic array of content, both development, turnarounds of the characters. We've got storyboards from across all 4 seasons. Really just exploring the dynamic detail of the series. I'm sure a lot of you are also fans of the game, and it's exciting to see how probably the most, I suppose, culturally important of the games, Symphony of the Night, has influenced the look of the show. Obviously, we're all big fans of it here too, so it's been a treat to bring this one together.
I love the show, and I was very excited when we got to finally announce this and make it public that we were going to do this.
Definitely.
We also do have some products that came out recently. They're based on the artwork from the games. So you can find those at comic shops too if you're a big fan of the Castlevania games. They're like 8-bit style, little pins and magnets and things like that. But this art book looks super cool. So I'm excited to have you guys back when you can reveal more and tell people about
Oh yeah, we can't wait. We've actually, it's probably might be tipping our hand a little bit too much to say, but we're actually coordinating calls right now between our writer and the art team. We're going to start populating all of this with some really fantastic commentary. And we really can't wait to share it with everybody.
Our art books are so good, people. Like, people watching at home, if you are a fan of Castlevania or any of the games that we're going to talk about, you definitely want to get our art books, because as we've been saying, they're not just art. Like, you really get an inside look at the making of and the development, and people like Brett and Ian and all our design and digital art teams put together like thousands of pieces of art and information. I don't even it daunts me just to think about all the work that goes into these books. Gary is showing some of the other Castlevania products too. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, it's a cool little Simon down there. Yeah.
I like the little 8-bit art style.
Yeah.
Well, we have another video game book too coming up that was just recently announced that we're pretty excited about, which I'm going to have Brett tell you all about.
Yes. So also in June of next year, Kingdom Hearts Ultimania, the story before Kingdom Hearts 3, which is in line with our Final Fantasy Ultimanias. If you've gotten any of those, it is like the deepest, densest dive into the lore of this game, of these games. It really dives into every character, how they interact in every game, because it's not the same in every game, and every like location, keyblade, all that kind of stuff. It's another one of our localizations. Here's the Japanese edition of the book. But yeah, I mean, it is extremely full of information.
Hyper dense content. Again, the Japanese volume. But yeah, a very direct localization. Yeah, it's a brand new translation, and yeah, all officially licensed through Disney and Square Enix.
Right. Ours will be a hardcover as well, to go in line with the rest of our Ultimania books. But yeah, I think I don't think there are many Kingdom Hearts books that are in English available right now that are like this. So very excited for this to come out.
People have been asking Dark Horse for quite a long time, actually, if we could do some any Kingdom Hearts anything. So yeah, I think people are very excited about this, or you should be, and that's kind of why we're telling you about it now, in case you hadn't heard. Now you can get hyped. But yeah, so this is very exciting for any Kingdom Hearts fans. I hope that you are pleased by this, and if it does well, I mean, we love working with Square Enix, so who knows? It's cool to see the original book too, because I had not yet seen the actual physical copy of it, and it makes more sense to see the like foil cover treatment alongside this, because like the cover art that we've got so far, and often we'll just have kind of a placeholder preview when we first announce this, just because we haven't quite gotten that far in the process yet. But this one, like on a screen, the Kingdom Hearts cover as we have it now looks a little bit washed out. So seeing the foil treatment, I think that makes a bit more sense.
Yeah, we've endeavored to recreate the Japanese cover as closely as we can. We have different resources available to us through our printers than Japanese printers often do, but we always want to offer a similar experience when we're localizing content like this. So yeah, the foil cover is inspired directly by the original Japanese book, and it'll be front and back. The back, I think, features, so the front is Sora and the back is Riku. So yeah, it's a great little package. Well, I say little, but it's well over 300 pages.
Yeah. It's also got this gatefold fold-out thing.
Yeah, describing all the character relationships. We'll be including that too. Yeah, it's a pretty significant amount of content. It's a bigger book than we typically do, but it's probably close to the size of the other Ultimania books at, I think, 252 pages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those Final Fantasy Ultimanias are gorgeous, just absolutely beautiful. Again, full of art, which I love to see, but then also, I like things like that, like what you just showed, bro, like where we kind of see the relationships between characters and sort of like the level layouts and other kind of glimpses at the game and how it came together. So super excited. 2 new video game books coming up. June will be a big month next year for video game and animated series fans. Well, we also had another big announcement this week, which I definitely want to cover. And that is if you have not heard of Black Hammer, well, now it's always a good time to get started with Black Hammer. The Black Hammer universe is a comic book superhero universe created by Jeff Lemire and Dean Ormston. And Jeff Lemire, of course, writes lots of other comics. I'm sure you have seen or heard of him if you're into comics. This is kind of an homage to like just his love of comics, and you'll find recognizable themes and sort of homages to characters throughout all of Black Hammer. It's been ongoing for a while. There's a main series, and then we've also had a lot of kind of side series, which are character studies. And one of our new issues today actually is one of those. So we'll talk about that more in a moment. But this new announcement is very exciting because Black Hammer Visions is the title of the new line. This is another thing that'll be coming up in 2021, starting in February. Visions is going to be an 8-issue series of kind of an anthology series. So each issue will be self-contained. It'll be a one-shot story focusing on one of the characters in Black Hammer. So the first issue in that series will feature Golden Gail, who is one of my personal favorite Black Hammer characters. She's kind of like a Shazam style homage, but hilarious. I love her. And what's really exciting about this is we're expanding to include lots of different creators who are new to the Black Hammer universe. So this issue is going to be written by Patton Oswalt. Yes, the comedian Patton Oswalt, who, as it happens, is a big fan of Black Hammer. He's actually given us reviews and quotes for past Black Hammer. So it was a natural fit to invite him to write a story in the Black Hammer universe. So Patton Oswalt will be joined by Dean Kotz on art, Jason Wordy on colors, and of course, Nate Picos, letterer extraordinaire, doing the letters for this first issue. I'm just going to read the list of some of the other writers who will be working on this series because it's pretty epic. Following issues will include Jeff Johns, Scott Snyder, Scott Collins, Chip Zdarsky, Johnny Christmas on some art, Cullen Bunn, Malachi Ward, Kelly Thompson, Leonardo Romero, Mariko Tamaki, Cecil Castellucci, and many more. So those are kind of like some comics all-stars. Pretty exciting. Like I said, 8 issues. The first one will come in February 2021. You can pre-order it now at comic shops. And I want to shout out, we have 2 variant covers for this issue. They're both amazing. The first one is, of course, by Evan Dorkin with Sarah Dyer coloring. If you know Evan Dorkin, Milk and Cheese, like this is definitely a Milk and Cheese mini comic, basically, with Golden Gail in the mix. It's hilarious. I love Evan Dorkin and I love his work. And if you do too, that's a variant cover you will not want to miss. This one also has a variant cover by Gilbert Hernandez, colored by Dave Stewart, which is another fun Golden Gail centric illustration. So lots of exciting stuff coming up in the Black Hammer universe. And that wraps up our announcements for now. We always have more, so we'll have more again next week. But without further ado, I want to dive into the new releases. Speaking of Black Hammer, Brett, why don't you tell us about this?
Yes. So within the Black Hammer universe, Barbalien Red Planet #1 came out today. Written by Jeff Lemire and Tate Brumble, drawn by the incredible Gabriel Hernandez Walta, colored by Jordi Belair, and letters by Aditya Bhattacharya. This is not necessarily an origin story, but a throwback or a flashback story for Mark Marks, as he adapts to being a policeman on Earth. He is an alien from Mars, and how it life on Mars mirrors the struggles that he's dealing with on Earth. It takes place in the mid '80s during the AIDS crisis. It's an incredible. It continues to be an incredible addition to the Black Hammer universe. Tate, who scripted this, is an excellent writer. The font choice, I guess, that Aditya designed for the Martians on Mars is incredible. I always love to see newer typefaces in comics, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's if you like Black Hammer, you're going to like this. It's just continued goodness from them. I'll even forgive Jeff for being a Leafs fan. So,
Whoa,
big words. Whew. Yeah, this has been highly anticipated. I know the creative team is really excited about it, which is fantastic. They're doing a great job. This first issue really sets up what I think is going to be a very compelling story in this universe. It's really great to, the entire creative team on this is also LGBTQ. So it's a very heartfelt and authentic story, and very happy to bring this to audiences. And excited to see where it goes, because I don't like to read too far ahead and spoil anything. But the story of Barbalien is really compelling. We also have another Black Hammer miniseries ongoing right now, Colonel Weird, Cosmagog. Colonel Weird is another fascinating character. I mean, that's the thing about Black Hammer, right? They're all very interesting, unique, and well-developed characters. So we can do a lot of exploration of not only the heroes, but also the kind of anti-heroes, like with Sherlock Frankenstein. And Brett, you've worked on some of those past
yes. It's always fun to go back to now that I can just be a fan of it. Go back to these series. I did also I forgot to mention the variant is by Phil Jimenez and Dave Stewart, which is you're seeing on screen now. It's great. But I really appreciate that this book really, I mentioned that it takes place during the AIDS crisis in the mid '80s, but it deals with it directly. Like, it's not kind of dancing around it. It's directly involved in the plot. So,
yeah. Mark Marks, our central character, is dealing with kind of understanding his own identity and not being accepted, and dealing with both the AIDS crisis and like kind of being a gay man in that time period on Earth, and then also being treated poorly by Martians back home for kind of the same thing. So really beautiful and heartfelt story, and so excited to have this added to the Black Hammer stable. Each issue, as Brett mentioned, each issue is going to have a variant cover, and each one is going to be done by a different artist. So you can look forward to those too. All of them are detailed on our website as they come available for pre-order. So darkhorse.com for more details on that.
Oh, I did want to throw one more thing out of this because it made me extremely excited when I saw it. I didn't know it was there. This issue also features a pinup from Chuck Howard, who is a member of our editorial staff. And Chuck is the best. So I was very happy to see his artwork featured in this.
Thank you for reminding me. I noticed that when I was reading this issue, and I was like, wait, Chuck draws?
Yeah, does
it all.
Was very happy to see that, for sure.
So good. Yeah, Barbalien, Red Planet, #1. Very excited that that's finally out today. What else have we got? What is next? Oh, I have a little thing that you might have heard of called the Umbrella Academy. We have a new ongoing side series for the Umbrella Academy, also starring none other than Klaus Hargreaves, aka The Seance. So this is issue #3, new this week, of You Look Like Death, Tales from the Umbrella Academy. This series is really getting into high gear in this issue. Klaus has been banished from the Umbrella Academy and has gone to Hollywood, like you do. This series is, of course, written by Gerard Way with Sean Simon. And in this case, the art is by Ian Colbard, who is also like, he's an amazing artist. He also does the art on our series with Burger Books called Everything. His art style is very clean, and I think it works so well with this. We do still have Gabriel Ba on covers. So the main cover art, back cover too, is by Gabriel, and letters, as always, by Nate Picos. Each issue also has 2 variant covers. So variant number 1 is by Ian Colbert himself. And for this issue, very recognizable, we also have a variant cover by David Mack, who is phenomenal. And I'm sure you recognize his work from many other things, including Neil Gaiman's Sandman and Jessica Jones and, you know, our own American Gods and other Neil Gaiman titles. So a beautiful David Mack mixed media cover. You Look Like Death, issue number 3. We, as I said, have Klaus in Hollywood, and he's kind of being used for his ability to contact the dead. He's got a movie star friend who is trying to get a part, and she's kind of using Klaus to help her get that part. Meanwhile, there's vampires, including a vampire chimp, because it's the Umbrella Academy. And he wants something from Klaus as well, which I will not spoil. But if you're an Umbrella Academy fan, absolutely can't recommend this enough. Pick this up. You Look Like Death is the name of this series, Tales from the Umbrella Academy, available in comic shops now. We're up to issue number 3. So if you haven't started yet, see if you can get issues 1 through 3 at your comic shop and on Dark Horse Digital. And then we have one more single issue new this week, which I know, Ian, your focus is on the art books, but perhaps you could introduce us to this next.
That's great, but yeah, we're still excited about this one. Yeah, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Song of Glory, the 2nd issue of the series is out now. It's by Cavan Scott, Barton Tunica, and our buddy Michael Attia on colors, and the very talented Sumit Kumar. They're all quite talented, but this is a beautiful cover by Sumit Kumar. So this is a prequel series. It's actually kind of interstitial. If you've started the game like me, I'm like an hour in, but so it's a prequel basically, leading up to the Ivor's first adventures as a young adult in the game, or excuse me, Eivor. I've been reading it as Ivor for months. Turns out it's Eivor. But basically chronicling her events, or her experiences with a prisoner who is baiting her now with a very, very tempting offer, and that's putting her through a chase through merciless mountains in search of very tempting treasure. And it's also got her brother following through his own narrative, testing out a new sword, and sort of just ancillary adventure there. So this is the second of, I believe, a 4-part series. Kara, do you have that information there?
I believe it is 4 parts. Issue number 3 is up for pre-order now on our website if you want to get a jump ahead.
But yes, so we're excited to continue working with Ubisoft on all these titles. This is but one comic series that we have going on with them at the moment, and it's a real treat to be dipping our toes into the Assassin's Creed universe.
I just want to say, well timed on everyone's part, because it can be very difficult with video games to actually time our books and comics releases to kind of match up with those things. And lo and behold, it's working out this week.
Yeah, this time we actually cinched it. So
yay. Good job, because like I said, that's often a challenge. So the single issues ongoing now, issues 1 and 2 as of today are both out, and you can pre-order issue number 3. Really exciting prequel series if you want to take a break for a second from playing the game. But then also we have this really gorgeous art book, which Ian and Brett are going to tell you about, because they're the ones who worked so hard to put it together.
Sure. So I've got a copy of the standard edition here. Kara and Brett both have their fancy deluxe editions on hand.
I also have the one that you can win in the giveaway, which I had not unwrapped because I figured you probably wouldn't want me to.
But yes, this is the Art of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And it's just completely chock full of some seriously gorgeous concept art. chronicling the development of the game. It's arranged in such a way that it's funny because with most open world games, it can be challenging to decide how to build a book like this in terms of outline and table of contents. But in this case, we basically just went in order that the content is revealed by way of the narrative. So we actually start off with characters, but then we proceed to Norway. We kind of sidestep off to discuss the long ships, since they're such an important part of the game, as travel has been through many of the previous, more recent iterations of Assassin's Creed. Before moving on to East Mercia and Eivor's settlement. And I'll stop there in the table of contents before I reveal too much, since if you're anything like me, you've only barely scratched the surface of the game. But yeah, we're very, very excited about this book, and again, our partnership with the folks at Ubisoft. It's been great working with them.
We have a lot of cool stuff ongoing and coming up with them for all of their games,
right.
especially this one. So you kind of touched on like how it's arranged and what what people can expect from the organization of this book. Are there anything like any chapters or images that you wanted to highlight and tell us a bit more about?
Absolutely. I think Gary's actually got a little bit to show us. So first and foremost, we have some images of Eivor, both the female and male versions of the character, since as has kind of been tradition over the past several Assassin's Creed games, you have the opportunity to choose. And in this one, actually, I think it's kind of built into the narrative that you can shift back and forth at any point, sort of dueling DNA data streams. So obviously there are tremendous varieties for customization, or tremendous potential for customization with the character. So not only in terms of weaponry, but also in armor, the way you can mix and match sets is very, very significant. And all of them are appropriately themed, obviously, to the era. So if we go to the next spread, we'll actually see an example of, I think we may have missed one of them, but we had, this is, it actually looks like our end paper. But yeah, both versions of the character are obviously very lovingly designed and fit a very similar mold, which strikes me as a really complex set of challenges in terms of development. Not only do they have to, enact similar motions and emotions in game, but they have to interact with the world in similar ways too, which is again a very, very complicated measure. Here we go. This is a second spread of the female version of Eivor, and you can see here there's some really excellent gestural illustrations, just exploring different movements, different poses, the way she, in this case, might wield different weapons. You can also see in the images above, those are just different examples of hairstyle, since Eivor currently has a pretty iconic hairstyle. I love the undercut with the tattoo on the side of her scalp.
Yeah.
These are more late game Valkyrie armors. Again, and that's something to actually point out in the text here, that even though the mythological Valkyries were indeed female, this armor works for either version of the character. It's just very powerful design. And I think the next slide, unless I'm incorrect, should be the male version of the character. If we can see that.
I was looking at the headdress thinking you would have to really become very familiar with that suit of armor so that you don't like whack your head on doors and tree branches.
So here now, of course, we can see the male version of the character. And again, different head studies, exploring which hairstyle is appropriate for the region and the era and the setting, and for the character specifically. Obviously, I think the designers just ended up going with something a little bit more dramatic than the shorter versions of the hairstyle that you see here. It's just more interesting to see on screen the way that the character moves and the profile that they cut.
Really?
So yeah, there's some really just some and this is all character work, of course, for now, but the scenics as well are just completely gorgeous, and that's also sort of a hallmark of the Assassin's Creed series, since you explore the environments from so many different perspectives. You know, not only do you get worm's eye view at the floors of the complex cityscapes, but also just grand expanse of wilderness and the highest peaks from and in this case too, you kind of have a recon drone by way of your Raven, which is a fantastic touch. So yeah, we're getting some very unique perspectives on the landscapes in this game. Yeah, you can see here this spread details some of the complexity that you'll see in the city planning for these environments. It's really, really amazing. Just an almost alarming amount of historical detail.
Yeah, this game in particular, as someone that really loved at least the last couple Assassin's Creed games, the world of this game seems so much different in that while there are cities, unlike ancient Greece or ancient Egypt, which are very like you're within a traditional cityscape, it's almost you're like traveling through the wilderness a little more, which I think let the artists stretch their muscles in terms of like vast like landscapes, which was very cool to see. Also, there's not that much snow in Assassin's Creed, so seeing that is also pretty cool.
Definitely, yeah.
That is true. I hadn't really thought about that until now, but that is true. Kind of the opposite. I don't know if you have any art in this book from these things, but two gameplay features that I especially am excited about and have pointed out many times now are, number one, if you, like me, watched some of the Ubisoft gameplay and the Ubi Forward conferences here on Twitch earlier, they made sure to highlight a very important thing, which is that you can recruit cats to be on your longship. So you can not only pet the cat, but you can interact with the cats, and like the cat will come and sit in the front of the ship. Also, you can pet the dog. It's a critical component of any video game these days, is that if there's a dog, you should be able to pet it. So yes, you can recruit a cat as a warrior and also get some dog love and some good dog petting. So I'm excited about those two things personally.
Yeah,
I do love the Assassin's Creed games, but I think that's the first time you can say either of those things about an Assassin's Creed game.
I know they're in here somewhere, but there are some characters you come across that essentially have like, I want to call them familiars. They're not. They're not. But like they have like this bandit group has like a boar with them that they can like send off, or wolves. And as someone that insists on always being a ranger, so I can have an animal companion with me at all times when I play D&D, it just really, really right in the heart for me. So
fair. One of my current D&D characters is a druid, actually, who has a thing for animals, like kind of acquires them as pets. So yeah, I hear
it's
that.
got a wild shape, so you can be whatever animal you want.
Also that, yeah. We actually have 2 druids in that particular party, so it's there's a lot of that. We have an entire pack of wolves at times. Yeah, this art book is gorgeous. As we kind of mentioned, there are 2 editions, both the regular standard and then also the deluxe, which includes this portfolio of artwork, lithograph. I know a little glare on that, but you were also looking at that particular art spread a little bit ago because Gary has been showcasing the interiors for us. And then Brett and I both have a copy of this, but so you can see the cover design on this one. I really like these glyphs. It's a very nice, classy, clean cover.
Yeah, and it's yeah. So obviously the Raven is a very important theme in the game. They're the Raven clan, but the glyph also sort of incorporates some of the Animus design aesthetic. So yeah, we thought that was a really nice way to kind of walk the line of those two important elements of the game.
It's really beautiful. Is you can see a lot of influences in it, kind of like almost Celtic knotwork, the raven, all these like totem symbols, and of course the Assassin's Creed symbol itself.
That's right, the peak. Yeah.
The raven art I really like as well. I think when we initially announced this, that was like all that we had, all that had been revealed. So that was very intriguing. So yeah, the deluxe edition, both the standard and deluxe are available now in comic shops and bookstores. If you're a collector, the deluxe edition is going to be a gorgeous addition to your Assassin's Creed collection. But honestly, the cover design for the standard edition is gorgeous too.
That's right. Yeah, it's this was sort of a fun way to incorporate both versions of the character too. So on the front, of course, we have female Eivor, and on the back, male. So
it's going to take me a minute to make sure I say Eivor as well, because like I keep reading Ivor.
I've been reading it as Ivor for months. So yeah, and as soon as they started saying the character's name in the game, I was like, oh dear, I'm gonna have to correct myself. I think I had the same problem with Geralt and Geralt though. So
yeah.
Early on, so
yeah, for me, Geralt, that one was easy because I played the games. I think honestly, I think I also heard some of the Ubisoft people saying Ivor, so that might be where I got it. So we all have to fix ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, so these are both available now. As I said, they're a fascinating dive into the game. We probably don't want to show you too much more because, as Ian said, we don't want to spoil anything for you. And I don't know how far everyone is in the game, but like I have not even yet begun. So
yeah,
don't spoil it.
This will take you all the way through the end of the game too. So yeah. We'd be in danger of spoiling it for somebody. That's for sure.
It's interesting, I think, sort of the timing of all of these video games that have all kind of gone with the Norse theme lately. We had God of War. We also, we did art books and comics for that, which actually, now that I mentioned that, yes, the next comic series is still happening. It's just a 2021 release now because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very common question that we get. But anyway, so God of War obviously went into Norse mythology this time around. We have the series Norse mythology, based the adaptation of Neil Gaiman's book, but then Assassin's Creed. I'm trying to think, like I'm drawing a blank right now, but there are so many games lately that have kind of gone with this theme, and I just think it speaks to how popular.
Absolutely. Well,
right now.
I think it maybe even goes back as far as Skyrim,
yes.
Since obviously that game came out kind of around the same time as Game of Thrones was first hitting the air, and had similar themes. But Skyrim, obviously, the main race of peoples, the populace in that game are the Nords. So
yeah. And like I still play Elder Scrolls Online, and some like occasionally, not by any means regularly, but I think that was one of the big things is they didn't incorporate enough Skyrim in it for a lot of people at first, and so lately they've been rolling out a lot more content that's very Nord focused.
Nobody cares about Cyrodiil, so
yeah, no, sorry. Not really. Yeah, and I keep seeing comparisons. The look of Eivor is very distinct, but it definitely also harkens back to say like the Barbarian show that's on Netflix right now. See a lot of comparisons to that. Definitely, if you're interested in one, you're probably interested in the other. So just a popular aesthetic right now.
Eivor's got a great character design, though. Early in the game, we find out her part of her personal lore is that she's called Eivor Wolf-Kissed because of an experience she has with a child, with a wolf, and some distinctive scars she earns as a result of that too. And yeah, it's just really cool design, even though it is, of course, informed by pretty well established, historical ephemera like Yakira. You can probably, as an anthropologist, spot more easily than any of us. So
that is my secret background. Before I decided to go into publishing as my career. Yeah. No, I do think it's fascinating. And another show that comes to mind, the series Vikings, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, this is a very, very popular cultural thing right now. And I, for one, am excited by all of these different interpretations of it. They're also unique. And so in Assassin's Creed, you're blending that classic Assassin's Creed sort of the aesthetic with what's going on in the present day and the lineage and all of those interesting like not in the past moments with this interesting part of our history. And yeah, I think it blends really well. So I'm excited to actually play through the game.
Yeah. You can't forget about Marvel's Thor too. Speaking of which,
Right.
talking about space Vikings there, but still it counts.
It's funny because I don't really think about Marvel's Thor all that much because I work for Dark Horse. But when we started talking about Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology and just sharing, cover art with very recognizable Thor and Loki and other characters like that, people kept bringing up Marvel. Like, is that legal? And I'm like, Marvel doesn't own Norse mythology.
No. I'm admittedly a fan, but no, it's
They're all good. They're all interesting. I do actually like the Thor comics, but yeah, they're mythological figures, so we can all tell stories about them.
Yep.
Which is part of the fun. Well, so that was Assassin's Creed, the art of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We also previously talked about the comic issue, the new single issue comic, both out this week, comic shops and bookstores. Lots more cool stuff coming up, more issues of the single issue comics, and more cool projects with Ubisoft that we have announced. You can see all of those on our website, darkhorse.com. If you are in the chat and have not yet entered the giveaway, all you have to do is put in the keyword Valhalla, and you could win a copy of each of the single issues we talked about and a copy of the standard edition of the art of Assassin's Creed. Very cool. That one, yes, showing a female Eivor on the cover. See, I said it, Eivor. We do have a few more books to tell you about too before we wrap up today. We have a manga that is out. This actually came out in comic shops a couple weeks ago, but as is usually the case with Dark Horse, new book releases typically come out in bookstores 2 weeks later, just because we use a different distributor for that. Also, it kind of gives you a chance to get first dibs at a comic shop, but new in bookstores. So wherever you buy books now, this week we have Keep Your Hands Off Aizuken Volume 1. If you are a fan of the anime, it is on Crunchyroll, of course. And so we're very excited to bring this manga to English audiences for the first time. This is by Sumito Owara. It's if you haven't watched or read Aizuken yet, it's a very cute series about a trio of schoolgirls who want to kind of do their own animation. So they form their own little group where they pursue their dreams. And so we actually have a contest, a giveaway running right now on our Twitter. We're at Dark Horse Comics across pretty much all social media. So if you go to twitter.com, check that out. We have this Aizuken, you'll win a copy of the manga and also a slipcover. Editor Carl Horn, who is of course notorious and fabulous, but is also camera shy and does not come on these streams, unfortunately. Carl Horn has once again saved us some really cool items he got specially from Japan. So these are little slipcovers you can put over your books, and they feature the actors from the live action Japanese Aizuken series. So you can win one of those and a copy of this manga volume 1. All you have to do is reply to that giveaway tweet and tell us about a project that you have worked on with your friends or schoolmates, kind of in the same theme as the Aizuken manga and anime. And so, yeah, that is new in comic shops and bookstores now, volume 1. Very, very cute manga, and I recommend it highly. So, yeah, that's new and latest in our manga. We also do have one other deluxe edition in our ongoing saga of manga deluxe editions, though. Brett, you wanna tell us what else we got? Oh, no, Ian. It's Ian.
I'll tell you about
I set this up and I skipped ahead.
About to be like, oh God. Go.
Brett, you're on the spot. Go.
Well, I got to tell you about Berserk. We got to see what Guts is up to.
I kind of heard of Berserk.
This is the sixth deluxe edition volume of Berserk. This is obviously hyper popular manga series that we've been proud to produce in English for the last 2 decades. So yeah, this will collect the single volume 16 through 18 of Kentaro Miura's epic, his bloody, violent, amazing epic. So yeah, this will be hitting comic shops this week.
Indeed. The manga deluxe editions are huge, oversized hardcovers, faux leather, kind of embossed covers, really nice. You get to
amazing blood red foil. They're perfectly Berserk. Yeah.
They are. So now we've done Berserk, we've got that ongoing in deluxe. We've got Hellsing currently ongoing in deluxe editions, and Blade of the Immortal just started in deluxe editions. And it seems like people are really enjoying those deluxe editions. So don't worry, we hear you. We'll try to do more of other series too.
It's a cool way to enjoy the content. If you've already read them at their original digest size, it's just, it's a way to enjoy them at a larger size. And it just makes for a wonderful collectible. They just look really, really cool.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. We love seeing, like, people will send in photos of their collections at home with all the deluxe editions side by side, or they're just whole Berserk collections. We had really cool deluxe Berserk bookends shaped like Guts' sword, Dragon Slayer. So some people will take a picture like of their series collected and stored in those bookends. Thank you. We love seeing that. Feel free to share and tag Dark Horse Comics if you do. We might share it. But yeah, so the latest new collection. These each collect 3 of the smaller sized volumes. This is not Berserk, obviously, but 3 of these per one of those big.
And then a larger trim size. So.
Yeah, much bigger, like 7 by 10, I think, on these.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
So you can get all that detailed artwork at an even bigger size to enjoy all that detailed artwork. And that's it for new manga releases this week. But Brett has another cool book, which it is now Brett's turn.
Yes.
What you got?
So it's great that all of those manga books are coming out, but today is Crone Day. You are required to go to your comic store and get this Crone trade paperback from writer Dennis Culver, artist Justin Greenwood, Brad Simpson on colors, and Pat Rousseau on letters. It's a story of Bloody Bliss, who is a former essentially warrior who is now an old crone, and the seemingly rising from the dead old foe brings her out of retirement. And there are a lot of twists and turns, but it's an incredibly illustrated and heartwarming story. But just like Assassin's Creed, it ties into that kind of world, like Game of Thrones, a lot of sorcery, not really sorcery, but sword stuff. But it's incredible. I'm not just saying that because I worked on it. So I'm requiring that you get it now. It's got this nice spot gloss on it. Look at the spot gloss.
All right.
We love our spot glosses.
Yeah, we sure do. Yeah, I really like Crone as well. I'm glad that we have the book out now so that we can really hype it some more, because it was a series that got a little bit, I think, buried, as many did, thanks to COVID and quarantine and all of that. So now you can get the whole collection at once, which I really think is like kind of the best way to read it.
Yeah, I agree. You're gonna want to read this all together for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you like, I mean, I think sword and sorcery as like a genre is a good way to describe it. If you like Conan, if you like, Red Sonja, but this is a more like, she's a real badass, like feminist kind of figure too. So yeah. I like Crone. I think this was a fun twist on the sword and sorcery genre. So stay tuned. We'll share some more previews and some of the extras and whatnot on social media too. So follow us on all those places. Also in books, I'm just going to point out that when Brett holds up a book, it looks way smaller in your hands than it does in mine. I have baby hands. I'm child size. So this is the same size book as that. This is a trade paperback collection. Yeah. Ian, by contrast, is a giant. So this is Criminal Macabre, also collected in this fine paperback. No spot gloss on this one, unfortunately, but beautiful colors. So this is the latest from horror master Steve Niles. This is not the first Criminal Macabre series, but this one is called The Big Bleed Out, the latest. Another one that kind of started before COVID, single issues. And so it's been a little bit delayed, but now the full miniseries is collected here in trade paperback and available wherever comics are sold and in bookstores shortly. We have fabulous art in this one by Gyula Nemeth, which I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And letters, you guessed it, by none other than Nate Picos, who you might have known. He letters a lot of comics, guys. So if you are a fan of kind of supernatural detective stories, then this is definitely something for you. Our supernatural detective star in this particular series is Cal McDonald. In this particular miniseries, he's been wandering the streets as a vagrant, ripped from his self-imposed retirement to resume his monster-killing career. He's reluctant to return to the fray. We don't necessarily know why, unless you have been following along with his story. It involves a beautiful woman who happens to be a vampire. So find out what happened to Cal and what he will do next in The Big Bleed Out, which is now collected in this gorgeous trade paperback volume. And if you're a fan of horror comics, like I said, if you like, say, Hellblazer, John Constantine, then I think you would like Criminal Macabre also.
I have an important question, Kara. Is there a spot gloss?
There is not. I don't know why. Maybe because like they would have to like duel.
I know. Dark Horse tradition is thwarted. That's okay.
There's like a little bit of gloss on
that's okay. We usually like to do it on the logo at least.
Yeah. A little bit on the title, a little bit on the subtitle. I would like to see, in a future volume, maybe like half of them Cal is glossy and half like this vampire is glossy. I don't know. Special edition.
I'll also say the only time Nate Pico stops lettering is to buy a new guitar. So
that is true. He joined us earlier this month on stream for the Stranger Things and Dungeons and Dragons comics that are coming out. And in the background of his Zoom, you could see just like a wall of guitars.
He has an incredible collection of guitars. Yeah.
I should ask him about that next time because we will have him back.
Oh, he's the best.
Just get Ian and Ben Dewey on there also. Just whole Wednesday about guitars.
Yeah, no, we'll just talk about guitars all day. Yeah.
We could do a stream where like they just kind of jam. That would be
oh man, I'm probably not up to spec with Nate. So.
I know, like that stream would actually probably get folks like my boss, our VP of marketing, to come on. You can play the as I like to call it, the Hell bass. There's a Hellboy bass that was designed and released last year, very fancy.
The bass is gnarly.
Hell bass.
Yeah.
Limited exclusive. I don't know. You can find that on the internet somewhere. Not sold through Dark Horse, unfortunately, but it is an officially licensed product.
Yeah. So. It's beautiful, though. Yeah,
it is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. I do not play the guitar. I play piano, and so I'm not hauling a piano onto this stream. Yes, I have a keyboard, but also too big for this. But yeah, so Criminal Macabre kind of rounds out our new releases for this week. Single issues and all of the books we discussed available at comic shops now. Some in bookstores now as well. Some in bookstores 2 weeks from now. We're going to draw a winner in our giveaway here, and that winner will win a copy of The Art of Assassin's Creed Valhalla Standard Edition, and also the single issues that we talked about today. Congratulations to C Chaps 4, CCHAPPS 4. You have won the giveaway. I feel like last stream I did with Dan Shaban, actually, we were joking about how the giveaway keywords are kind of like Pee Wee Herman, and maybe we should start treating them like the word of the day.
Connect the dots, la 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 la.
So whenever I say giveaway or the keyword, we all have to yell. So congratulations. You won the giveaway. All you have to do to claim is you can use the claim command and also send us a whisper, which is a private message here on Twitch. If we don't see one from you in the near future, one of our moderator team will contact you and we'll get the prize shipping sorted out. So congrats again. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you to Ian and to Brett for joining me.
Thanks, Kara.
For all of this new comic book day goodness rundown. Ooh, I'm going to hold up this deluxe edition again. Look at that. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This is a fancy one. The other one's fancy too, though. Come on. It's just I still have this one wrapped for a prize winner, so there's going to be glare. There's my screen. But thanks again, guys, for joining us. Every week we come back on Wednesdays to do the new comic book day rundown, and also we mix in some fun streams with special guests, which we'll announce far and wide when our next one is coming up. So stay tuned, and thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, Kron.
Before the beginning, there was nothing. No earth, no heavens, no stars, no sky. Only the mist world, formless and shapeless. And the fire world, always burning. In Jotunheim, the home of the giants, is Mimir's well. Mimir, the wise one, the guardian of memory, knows many things. His well is wisdom. The ash tree grows between the 9 worlds and joins them each to each. The dragon Nidhogg lives in these waters, and it is always gnawing at the root from below. At the edge of the flame stood Sota. He will go forth from Muspel with his flaming sword and burn the world with fire, and one by one the gods will fall before him.